Oh, that's a lot of shit on there. So let's get back some of that off. So let's see how we're doing on attendance. Okay, so we got most of our regs in here. So you guys, I was gonna, you guys know, like, you can take those on and off, but it just now you're just looking at them on the side. Did just a little reorg, or just change some of the cosmetics on our volume profile indicator. I like it a little bit better now, so I can see. So clearly, here's our point of control. VWAP's way down here. I came down and tagged VWAP, and we got that lift off. Gold's holding the structure there, but here, let's get this over here, because I think we're going to be stuck here for a little while. So here, so let's look at it here. So as we hit that, that's at 1058. All right, so we didn't quite get to minus 400. That's a kind of a judgment call. You don't note the RS. Well, here's a good example. So I've just now, we've got divergence set into the QQE. So you note the divergence up here as we hit. Remember, the first test of the IB high almost always fails. Almost always, right? So we've had a little test here, failed. Now look at the tick, right? We're getting kind of hot here. 361 here, 653 here. We got to figure that out. So there's a high tick per the kinetic data. Note RSI is still down. So it's really kind of a warning flag. Now this can move fast because this is only a 14.4, so that can rip higher quickly. But I think you got to be cautious up here, given that we're seeing divergence. Now you see more selling coming in, and you've got a golden. So you see the golden zone here that it just ran into at the IB high. You can understand why there's resistance. Doesn't mean we can't get through, but that's why it got rejected. So if I put that back on, right, you see that? Look at all the resistance up above. So the divergence is always kind of a heads up. Right now, if you can combine that with something else, then perhaps you've got a trade. But right now, trend's up, everything's up, trend fans are up. We want to wait for the next opportunity to get long. Now that's interesting. So we're getting a high tick. Baby whale, when that shows me a high tick like that, like it just did. Okay, so it's showing me, is that just telling me, guys forgive us, right? We worked through our beta here. That's telling me that I'm over 400, not that it's the high tick of the day. So I see your points here. So each broker cut, okay, interesting. Okay, I see. Interesting, huh? That is interesting. Well, let's watch the two, right? See, I mean, this has been pretty reliable for me for a lot of years, so this will be interesting. I have to ask. I might shoot off an email to their support just to ask about that, how they're calculating that. All right, what else we got? So here we go. I can't, guys. Here's the, it's part of your trading plan, and it either is or it isn't. I just would not buy a tick up there. I just wouldn't do it. Doesn't mean we can't blast off. It's just the odds are not good. So a lot of vol in crude today. Can't make up its mind. Now this may set up a gold short here if this is going to run. Look at the tick. All right, so that's interesting. So I'm 922 here. We're 461. Well, it doesn't matter, right? If this is good for us. Okay, so the YM broke, went right to its golden zone, or the YM just hit this and turned. So perhaps we've got a short setting up here for gold.
Order filled.
Okay, so there's the first break. So what this is showing the day's range, so that's why you're seeing that line move beyond the IB high. That's our unfilled gap indicator, which is going to define the high and low of the day. So with this now kicking, I grabbed a gold short, but I haven't gotten too far. We're just sitting right at the support. But a good, relatively low risk trade. Stop at the IB. Let's see if we can break this level. Here, let's bring this over here as you guys. All right, nothing fancy. All right, just went to the 50. So as this started to go, so you see, here's the RSI in white, but here's the structure. It hit, bounced. So low risk, got to get through this. Then I think to the golden zone, reasonable target. And then here's the algo target. Right, but you can absolutely count on a reaction here, so that you can move that up if need be. But first we got to break this. Nothing, right? We're kind of in that no man's. But note the RSI is below, so we'll see if that gets any traction. That's why it's always good to kind of wick off those structure levels. That's just prior. Bring that back here so you see what that is. A good thing to do to start the day, right? So this clearly was structure, and here we bump into it again. A little bit. I think we already broke. Yeah, we did. We broke right here. That's why I took it. But maybe a little late. We'll see. Not a lot of risk on that. So how are we doing? We got 17. So do we have anyone who's on for the first time? Excuse me, Sam. What's MGC? That's the micro gold. So if you see an M in front of anything, that's what I was just going to talk about. So with the vol. So one of the things that's happening with the vol, all of our Renko bars, which is how we prefer to trade these, the vol is because it's tied to the volatility in the market in the average daily range. It's so high, we're getting 20 tick bars here. So you got two choices: either you abandon the Renko bars because the risk would be too high to do this with full size. So to accommodate that, it's kind of worked out well. It forced us to look for more of a trend-based approach rather than a scalping approach, which is a lot of what we do based on the just tick trading. So because the bar size is so high, so a 20 tick bar in a full size S&P, that's just too much risk, right? Your eye doesn't see it the same way because it just looks like just a bar, but these are 20 tick bars, so it's just too much risk. So we switched to the micros given the volatility. So you have some of a trade-off there in that you can't, trading multiple lots in micros, your commission costs are going to be problematic, right? So you go, oh shit, what's the big deal? I'll just take a 5 lot or a 6 lot. Well, you're paying per ticket, so that gets to be problematic. So you need bigger moves, which is when we added the trend fans here just to try and stay in these moves. But I think we've all kind of agreed that we like it now. It's just another approach. It's not radically different than the ATR stop we were using, but just you get more of this, right? So this is what we're trying to get in here, right? These little pullbacks here where you can go from, okay, maybe I start with 2, add, maybe add again. So now you're adding with house money, because if you're a buyer down here, that's what we were trying to do based on that. And I think I'm kind of liking it, right? So it's an opportunity to add when you've got a trend going. So this confirming the trend, and then where's the entry when the two come back together? Oh, how's that gold trade doing? Okay, first time here, Grant. Okay, so yeah, so we opened this up today for anyone and everyone. So for those of you, so for example, Grant, you're new here. Do you trade with NinjaTrader? Have you used it before? Or is this the first time you've seen Ninja? First time here. Okay. Well, so Ninja, just another platform. Most of the stuff, if you've followed us on YouTube, you see TradingView all the time. So most of the day trading that I do, certainly, and we've got a pretty active group here. It's not that we don't trade crypto. It's just for day trading. Well, one, this is how I cut my teeth. This is what I spent my career in. All of my brokerage career was in the futures market. So this is where I go when I want to day trade. So this is kind of a long-winded way of saying NinjaTrader is really designed for day trading. You can use it for larger swing trading. It's just the way you organize your charts. It's not as fluid to move from one to the next as TradingView is. So it's really designed for day trading. So all of the tools that you see here, these are all tools that we custom built. Well, my partner here, Baby Whale, you'll see him a lot in here. So we've designed all of these tools, and it's not that we're reinventing the wheel here. We're just kind of deviling these up the way I like them, and so we have a full tool suite here that you're seeing on display. it's relatively consistent with the things that you would see on YouTube if we were analyzing crypto, or wouldn't matter what we were analyzing. And other than we don't do a lot of Elliott wave analysis in here because the counts change too fast, things move too fast. So it wouldn't make sense to be looking at a 2 or a 3 minute chart trying to put a wave count on it because you'd be changing it all day. So while you can see wave counts, and to your eye, sometimes we'll say, well, there's a clear 3, clear 5. We're not going through these putting an Elliott count on it because it just moves too fast. There's Brian at the so there's the resistance. We just bumped into it. Right, we got all these golden zones. So you can look at it two ways. If you want them on the chart, saying, okay, well, we're at 421 on the this tick is at 421. You wouldn't want to buy right into that golden zone. Doesn't mean it can't get through it. It's just your odds it wouldn't be the ideal time to be a buyer. You'd want to let that retrace. So each one of these little pullbacks is what we're trying to take advantage of. Of course, here I am talking, so I'm not getting into any of it. I'm kind of watching that gold trade. The higher this goes, so gold isn't always lacking correlation with the S&P, but lately when the market's really ripping like this, gold tends to soften a little bit. It's interesting to see what Bitcoin does today. But it is looking like this market wants to go up and challenge that high. Counterintuitive, right? So this is all forward projecting. You think, given the state of the economy and that we're completely closed worldwide, that markets would be selling off, yet we're having massive rallies. Right? Market's always discounting, forward discounting mechanism. So pretty solid trend. Let's see. Let's get some longer term. Okay, so that's the big 618. That's probably what Brian was talking about. So that's a judgment call. Now that would be trade. In my view, if you had high ticks here, that's tradable for a scalp. But since we're trend trading here, I wouldn't look to that because you can't make any money with a micro on a scalp. With full size, you can go after 2 or 3. Well, 3 ticks is my ATM. I'll try and get 3 ticks and leave 1 to run. Here you can't scalp, right? You can say, oh, just do a 10 lot, but you're paying 10 commissions. You can't make money. So here, unless you were anticipating that this is going to end up trading as an A, B, C, we're into resistance, and then eventually, so that we're just doing this, A, B, C, and we're going down here, well, shit, maybe, right? We're up here at this, we've got algo targets here, so that's hitting from this. So we're hitting targets, but targets are not sells. Tick's getting pretty hot here, but we could blow right through that. Maybe one of those days. So the Dow is blowing right through. So it could be one of those days. I was hoping my gold trade would get some traction, but it's not doing much. But you can pretty much count on a reaction here. Look at the tick, right? 812 in the golden zone. That's a scalp, right? So you could go after 3 ticks there. Probably already got it. That's a 15-minute chart. So that spread is bigger than you think, right, on a 15-minute chart. That's, well, here on a micro, it's 24 bucks. There's your 3 ticks, right? So as we start to come down, you have to get good at reading this. And the more you watch it, you'll get a feel for, right? Do you guys know what the tick is? 10, yeah, right. 10 million people losing their job in 2 weeks, incredible, and the market rallies. Right? Market doesn't care. So you can see you would have had your 3 ticks here. You can almost, I mean, it's I'd say 90% odds you're going to get a reaction there. So what did we get here? Just out of curiosity here. Did we get here? Let's get my little tool from our high. So you got just the 618. You already got 13 ticks. So if you're scalping 3 with a runner, your scalps are already out. Trend change, that's ambitious to think that we're going to trend change there. I think more likely this breaks and then the next trade is the next 50. That's hitting a lot of well, look at that. That'll be interesting to watch. Look at all the targets getting hit at that golden zone. You got I've got the R1 is sitting up there. I've got classic and then the woody pivots and the woody pivots are a little different in that it factors in the open of the day. My gold trade just won't get any legs. So it may be it's going to be one of these just balls up days. It's unusual considering the vol down yesterday. Usually after a big failure day like that, you get a consolidation day. But we're not today. I haven't really had my eye on the news. I don't know if anything's coming through, or there's. I know the last I heard was another 250 billion for small business loans. Well, it's not much better anywhere else. Oh shit! I can't. I haven't seen the. Well, RTY and Nasdaq doing the same thing. All up at golden zones. Everybody's at golden zone. Surprisingly, gold is just does not want to break that. Went 786 and still just now I'm underwater, but not a lot of risk on this. So this went 786, kind of surprising, right? 786 to the tick. You would still, well, so a little green here. So this is the SM. Yeah, I've got the SMI on this. We're still. So you're going to see here if this is going to go up and break that here. I'm going to put it on the other side of the golden zone. If this is going to turn, so then you'd have this going, and you see the trend fan is potentially now rolling up. So here's the first little whiff. We're not there yet. So if this goes up and then you flip, right? So the RSI is showing strength, right? That's just relative strength, right? Just like it sounds. Then we're on the wrong side. But you don't have the straight algo play. So here you'd be thinking, okay, since we broke here, look to a secondary algo. So this as a sell would be attractive because I got another golden zone here. So here's confluence. Looks like that's going to get stopped up. So that'll be the next trade, unless that golden zone holds, will be at that next golden zone where you've got the 100. Shit, I'm going to put the trade on sitting there right now already. Golden zone, not in, it's like $40 a risk. So that's the other nice thing. There's very stress-free trading in micros because the dollars are lower, but it's harder to get. We try and get anywhere from 200 to 400 a day. Harder to do in micros, no doubt about it. It takes more trades and more patience. But we are just balls up, right? Everything. So, oh, look, right. So right to the 6.5. So that gold trade did get stopped. So now we're flipping. Next trade is the all the way. So, all right. So same, just as we were looking at. So you can kind of see what happened here. All right. So here was that's why I went in. Right, so here was the swing, the retrace to the IB. I went here as we broke that, looking for the push to the low. Right? Now we've had a complete turn. Right, so now everybody. So here's the cross. Everybody's up. I got 100 and I got a golden zone. Stop would be on the other side of that. So you can kind of tally that up. It's going to be not a lot of room. So I want that fill. Yeah, let's get right on the pivot there. All right, so look what we just did there. Tag the median line. But this is all now. We got to be careful here. So why take that? Because I've got that confluence there. So even though this is all saying be on the buy side, the larger degree. So this is swing. Here's the golden zone from this pivot. Low risk. Relatively. 100 golden zone target median lines. What else is there? I don't have anything else. So this potentially now, if it does this, if we so having hit the median line, if we're going to retrace, that is a trade I would look at on the long side. And there's the break. All right, so it's going to be one of those days. Looks like. All right, so we're broken here. So now this is dead. Well, Yeah, that's an. Well, did we break? Yeah, it broke it. So that's killed. So next trade, at least out here at this degree, I would look for some overlap. I'd use the dominant. That's interesting. And then I would look for this as well. We don't have a pivot yet. I want you with. I want no 38 on that. From the absolute to and through. So what else do we have to work with here? Not a lot. There's not. You can see here in the volume profile, there's not a lot to work against it. So we just got to wait for this. Well, here, do I have them on here? No, I don't. Sometimes I'll leave the auto fibs off because I just want to have one place where I draw them all myself. But I will do things like this, right? So clearly there's some support there. So if we look, if and when we get a pivot there, so something like that starts to look interesting, point of control. All right, let's pay attention. So I've got that gold trade potentially now coming back down. Let's put that median line back on. Boy, that's tagged it perfectly. So let's try
Order
and get
submitted.
the 2 at the golden zone on the corner of that. Any of you gold traders, there's a low risk trade right there. So you could frame it this way. I got a feeling this is just going to be up, up, up all day. Maybe we'll get a middle of the day move. So tags the median line, down we come. So I like both sides here. This is saying be a buyer. Definitely unusual for the 2 big back-to-back days. A little surprised, tell you the truth. But right, ours is just to take what the market offers us. I still don't have a pivot here, so I'm a little premature on that. Boy, everything's ripping. NASDAQ, RTY, YM on a tear. It's actually kind of a bummer. It makes for a shitty live stream when we have these days. As in, there'll just be fewer trades. Days like this, right? It's very hard to get in. In fact, they will deliberately try and make it hard for you to get in, right? You won't get any 50s. All right, so the big dogs here, they can just ramp, right? And they won't give you a retracement because they know how retail trades. They won't give it to you. Yeah, I want this off. So what are you left with? You're left with structure. So maybe the IB high, if you got a retracement here, there's a 50 there, would be of interest. This is so shallow. You probably had it there, but you know, you beat your target right here. Really, there's not enough to trade here. Oh, say this is kind of interesting. You see, where do we cross here? Right here. You're kind of far into it. So let's just look at that. So that's 1112. 1112. Over here, you're at, you know, it's 800. Can't buy it, right? Would you have made money on that trade? Yeah, but over time, if you continually are doing that, you're going to have bad results. You'll get away with it on days like today, where it's just buy programs are wide open, full throttle. They're just buying. I've just seen it too many times. You're not going to get opportunities. They're going to shut you out unless there's some news or something to spook it. It's going to be a shutout. A lot of years of doing this, I know what a shutout looks like. We might get something in gold, crude maybe, although crude is, I find the hardest market to day trade unless you specialize in it. Oh, whoops, I lost my chat feed. Sorry, guys. Let's get over here so I can see. Okay, is this a new template? Yeah, it is a new template. It's the so I'm going to list it as the micro template. D. Wilton, and since we've changed and tweaked, and so just so you guys know, Baby Whale and I are constantly trying to refine this to improve it. So we want to give a different. We want to give you, like, I think we've got 7 or 8 different templates in there now, so you can adapt based on, one, what instrument are you trading, what kind of account size are you working with. So we want to give you a lot of options. So this is going to, I'll do some video on setup here and how to get this, your chart to do exactly, you know, what I'm doing here. Probably this weekend. It's hard for me to do it when the markets are open, but this weekend I'll go through the new templates and we'll list them for all the OGs. They should be in the store for people that are interested on the buy side if you're interested in this product. All of that's coming this weekend. But I think we've had some nice refinements to the whole tool suite, having had to work through all this volatility. I think there's some nice improvements. Different approach trading the micros. Very, very different. This is just. I kind of expected it to be choppy today, so I was thinking, oh, it should be good for live stream today. I was not anticipating a shutout. Can we get the top indicator at the? Can we get the top indicator at the bottom? Let me think. Can we get the top indicator at the bottom on TradingView? What do you mean by the top indicator, Brian? The top indicator. Am I reading that right? The top indicator. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You're not talking about the toolbar, are you? The top indicator. Jesus, this is just their. And we're being shut out. The top indicator at the bottom. I'm trying to. You have to clarify what you mean, Brian. So it looks like we've got the one. Let's go down to a 15-minute here. I guess you can get an impulse out of that. So if we look at it here, so if this is 3, 4, 5, so 1, I don't like that as the 2. So you kind of, I hate to truncate, but looks like 3, 4. This is. Well, we could have 1, 2. This could really go. They're after that high. Just straight up, right? No way to get in. Well, I mean, you can take a flyer at it. Isn't that amazing? So 578 in the YM, 2 million people out of work. Right, you can't. One thing I've learned of 25 years of doing this is you cannot try to outthink the market. You'll almost always be wrong. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's kind of just going sideways here. You'd think with all this vol, you'd see a little pop in Bitcoin, but it's nothing. Quiet. Pretty much that's all of crypto. Looks soft. Green, but Bitcoin's up 1.08%. Surprising. Let's see. Sam, if we buy the Tdu Renko Suite in the auto fibs, is that enough to create the devil's breath extension? Let's see. Well, you could get close, Matthew. So the Renko Suite, what the Renko Suite is going to get you is the Baby Whale, correct me if I'm wrong here. You're gonna get, well, the Tdu Renko bars, right? So our Renko bars, which are not, they're just median Renko bars. We've done a few cool things to them. You'll get the bar coloring, where we use the efficiency ratio. So the easier it is to move, right? That's when you get that's based on ease of movement, right? So less resistance. You'll get what I think is the key to the whole thing, which is interestingly why we're being forced to change a little bit, which is this, right? This is the challenge that a Renko bar trader always has is, what size brick do I use? If they're too small, you'll get whipsawed to death. If they're too big, you'll never get in the trade, or the risk on the trade is too high. So this is tied to a 1 minute chart. So, well, here, let me show you what that's doing, because that's kind of the key to the whole, that's the piece you want. So the Renko brick, where are we? Here's Renko paint bars. You'll get that. You'll get, oh, here it is. There's a different name in the new version, but it's showing you 3 different ATR periods, average true range. So you get a slow, medium, and a fast. So I typically will use the median, but that's in the S&P. That's a 20 tick bar, way too big to trade. Well, unless you got a 7-figure account. I mean, that's a big bar. So thus, so coming in today, that was the thinking here. Let's see if we because we normally are at a 7.2. Let's double that, 14.4. Well, really, given the volatility, you should be trading the 26. Too big to trade. So your choice is you go to a tick bar. All right, here's a 2050. I typically will trade a 1660. I'm just going up a little bit to accommodate the vol. But so here, this is the more typical. Right, so here's the older template right here on the left with an ATR stop, and then here are the trend fans. Right, so because you would want to be trying to stay in this, because a lot of times what we'll do is if you caught it here or here, you're just trailing the stop on the ATR. That's the point of it. So you just attach your stop. It's going to trail you all the way. You don't have to make a decision about when you're getting out here unless you've got a target set on it. So it kind of lets it run. Jesus, look at this. Just it's frustrating. It makes for a shitty live stream. Just complete runaway day. What are we up now? 600. Yeah, it's frustrating. You should see it on the. So, for example, right? You can't. How are you going to trade that? Right? There's the. You can't trade it. Right? I mean, you could take some risk in here, but you're look. We've had 1 tick below 400. It's just by programs of open full throttle. When you see that going all day, when the retrace is to 0, they're on full buy mode. Right? Look at the RSI. Very hard to do that. So you had a little one here. It's just with a micro. You know, maybe you were feeling ballsy there. $34. You know, micros you got to target $100 to make it worthwhile. So just shut out. Right? If you didn't catch, this is the only. This is right when we were fucking with the Vimeo not working. Right? So this is really the trade you have. But I would have bailed here. Right? I wouldn't still be in it. But it could be we're just going to get shut out. So here, let's see. What did we hit there? You got to go to the 15-minute now. Let's get that back here. So this should give you an idea. Look at the average daily range over here's 3 days, 5 days. That's massive, huge, crazy huge. 20-day average daily range 191 in the S&P. That's crazy town. All right, so very, very, very high risk environment to be trading it. God damn it, I missed that gold trade by it. Yeah, well, we're gonna kill that
canceled. Order canceled.
That's insane volatility. That's as high as I think I've ever seen it. To have that 20-day average daily range of almost 200 ticks, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. So what do you do here? I mean, this can be one of those days where you're just going to get shut out. I mean, you've got a little bit. Maybe you could work with something here. Even that, right? You got one shot at it. So this is going to need to go high enough to where you'd have maybe a 50 there. So this is, if it gets here, right, then I like it, but we got to get up to this. So then so we're always trying to stack. Okay, so I'd have structure here. I'd have a 50. I'd have this is one standard deviation. Well, let me change that here back to, because I tweaked that a little bit. No, because I used to use a different one. Now we have it our own. I want to load default. Okay. Give that a second. Right, so it just looks closer to the one I used to use. So it's nice. So here's one standard deviation. So we're already at 2 standard deviations. There's interesting. We went right to R1. That's classic. Yeah, that is traditional. Right. So here's my pivot right here. So that's kind of interesting. This, if we get any kind of a retrace, but we still have to get here. So if it's going to pivot here, Well, that kind of fucks you, because now you'd have to front run that, and you don't really want to. You want to take it. You want the 50. You want it to be right. That's what you. Well, even better would be right here. Right, that would be a must take. The S&P prefers, they like the 618, they like the golden zone, right? So consistent with trading. If you wait for the golden zone, it'll pivot at the 50. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll spread. I'll put 1, 2 here, 1, 2 here, knowing that. And the reason to do that is because you're going to end up with a split fill. So if you split the fill, then the distance to the stop is smaller, but you don't miss the trade. So this, that wouldn't surprise me if we got that. So you'd have a little low income divot, or pardon me, a low volume divot here. Oh, let's see, did we get something here? I don't think we did. We did. Oh yeah, we did. Okay, so there's you can see from this pivot. Well, yeah, I guess that's valid here. So here's the swing. It went from here to 50. Now here's the target, right? They just got that, so we could be going second target. So we gotta wait for a pivot. I could be going second. Let's get. Okay, so here's second. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we went up and got that. Nothing to give it any resistance up here, other than there'll be. So let's see, one thing we can do. Oh baby, well, I'm going to try your new thing on the fly here. Let's see if we can do it this way. Let's do it from here. So if we draw down. Okay, so here, that's interesting. Okay, so so we get a little cluster up here. Here's our point of control tied to all that volume at second target, but you're straight up. It's not a day. Literally, I have to put like training wheels on this for me, right? Because I'm essentially a retracement trader. When this is moving like this, my instinct is to want to sell it. So I have to put trading wheels. Literally, these are like training wheels, so that it's telling me buy only, dumbass. That's why I do this color coding, because I'm constantly wanting to try and pick pivots. So I built that in there just to keep me from doing that. Learned the hard way. Can you talk about how to find the next move up based on multiple days of upward pressure? Well, so that's where you would go back to a larger time frame, like we were just kind of looking at here, right? So this looks like that looked like ABC into a 4. We're at the 38. So if this is going to be 1, 2, you can kind of use a little Elliott wave knowledge there. Say, well, it looks like they're going up to at very least challenge that high. So if it's going to be a bullish day, you get a target. It's a little surprising, right? So just as a day trader, to see it's just booming days like this back to back. Usually it's boom, consolidate, boom, consolidate. But I mean, considering just the nuclear attack on this whole crisis that the Fed has thrown at this is just unprecedented, right? It's never been done before. Nobody really knows how this is going to end. To literally create trillions of dollars with nothing behind it other than the full faith and credit of the United States government, at some point people are going to go, that's $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. All right, how many trillions? Right. So either debt doesn't matter, or it does. Right. Most people tell you at some point debt will always going to matter. So it's hard to. It's kind of back to what I was saying before. It's trying to guess what the market's going to do. Well, it was, so here I'm giving you an example of it. Well, very very volatile yesterday. Big failure. Should be more of a consolidation day. So that's what I came into the day thinking, and look what we get. Well, it's just a shutout. Probably. So what often will happen like this? It'll just move up here and we'll consolidate. So if we get any opportunity to buy, it'll just be a move back to VWAP. So here's VWAP all the way down here. So if there is anything that triggers a sell-off, you might get something like that. maybe, right? So VWAP is way down here, but otherwise we'll just go up here and then we'll consolidate and then we'll just go sideways. That's more typical on a day like this. But what do we? So 1147, you might get a little. I doubt we're going to get that deep, but so what you'd hope for here is something like this to come to the top of the IB. So we'll probably be done for the day here because this is just, you know, not a good live stream day. Something like that would be your next opportunity, but it's got to be in line with the tick. All of this has got to set up just right. But that's just a straight shutout. So let's see if gold anything, right? Well, let's see. It's going to be the same in the RTY and the NASDAQ. Do you have mobile trading set up? You know, Matthew, I don't. You'd have to be. I don't know how you'd do it. You'd have to do it. I don't think you want to try and day trade on your phone. I think that would be. I wouldn't do that. I would be very uncomfortable about that. Mobile trading stuff. Yeah, I would be uncomfortable with that, Matthew. For day trading, maybe buying some crypto or something that's in an accumulation zone. But day trading, I think that would be problematic. God, can I've got anything anywhere? Even crude, right? I wouldn't touch crude right now. Volatility's too high. Gold. Well, let's look at the 15-minute here. I got a lot of pushback on that video yesterday in gold. So here's what gold has done, at least out on the 15. So this gold hasn't made up its mind here today. So we've come down here. Here's our IB. We're just in sort of the golden zone. So you're kind of. This is more what I was actually expecting we'd do in the S&P today. So you don't like this. This was the side that broke, right? That's where I tried to get that short, right? And did not get the trade to work for me there. So what are we doing in gold? Really, you just kind of stuck. Right. Right, here's all the volume. We're just sitting in that range. So there's no advantage to you here. You could just roll dice, right? You might get the thing to run. So the trend, right? So this being a little bit of a trend indicator. That's the McGinley line. This is in our basic package. It's just telling you trend is higher. So where are you going to buy it, right? Well, if you look, let's get the other one over here. Here comes a little softness. Check out the pitchfork median line from swing high to low coming up. Cyber, is that you talking gold? From swing high to swing low coming up on the 15-minute in gold? Is that what you meant? Swing high to swing low. Let's check it. Swing high. Oh. Swing high to swing low. Oh. SPX, okay. What time frame, Cyber? Daily? Let's get that. I'll have to get that over here. Give me a second. Daily. Yeah, let's take a look at it. There's nothing else we can really jump in here today. Do this over here on Thinkorswim. At the median line from swing high to swing low. Let's take a look. Make sure I've got that just right here. Is that what you mean, Cyber? This target here? there's the daily. Oh shit, I forget they've changed this since I used to trade with this. Sure looks like 1, 2, 3, doesn't it? Right. So this was an algo target. This hit the algo target right here. That was why it didn't make the 50. Is that what you mean? Low tag boundary line. I think that's what you mean. Well, if we're heading down here, right, we're going to go after that high. I think we might get a little higher. I think we're likely to do something like that. Then you'd have you'd be closer to 100% of the alternate price projection there. Okay, all right, so maybe, right, so this, just as I was just describing, maybe we'll get a little 3 down here to get some. Well, here's a 50, but the IB would step on it. That would take priority. Okay, so we got that's just as we were just looking at that. That's to and through target, right? So the next one, if that's our pivot, so this is the day's range. Here's our 50. Didn't quite get as high as we would have liked. So we went right to R1. Notice that, to the tick. Interesting. Here's the pivot down here. We don't really have much. Well, if that does set up, so that's a trade I would take, right? So if we come down, I would probably put one here and one here. This might as well. There's our so that's remarkable. Here, this is the noise, right? This is just to allow for that volatility. That's usually, god damn, that's amazing. That is really some high vol. We don't have the average daily range high, right? So it's tied to the ADR, which suggests that we're going that far, which would be a push towards R2. Could we do that? If it's not that, then it's got to, maybe it's here. Nope, that broke too. So we're kind of in between. There's no pivot that's lining that up. This is too, boy, that's close, but break's a break. Maybe you'd have to go to extensions here. That would at least get you there. I don't trade extensions. I just don't think there's enough value. Maybe there's a 38 there. You're kind of no man's land. It makes me suspect of that pivot. It's not tied to anything. Well, let's see. Sometimes I'll just do this and say, okay, what did we run into there? I like precision, right? I don't trust this pivot now, but fuck, look where we're going. Looks like that's where we're headed. Oh, I think you could almost just leave them there. I would do it twice. Right, it's kind of day where it's either you're going to get an opportunity or you're just going to stay shut out all day. You might get a little bit of a fade here. I'd bring this down to the IB. That will be natural support. Well, so you've got the structure. Right here was the first test. Maybe we just have to leave those there. How are we doing on time? 11:56. What is that pivot indicator? I like how it only shows for today's pivot. The one from Lizard shows too many. Well, Cyber, you can set that to only show the day. So you're talking about this one? Let me get that up. This one. Let's see. What have I got? I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's just the default pivots. Yeah. It's this. It just comes with Ninja. It's this one. It's the classic pivots. Do you think buying Boeing is a good buy? Well, if you can park your capital there. Well, so are you trying to trade it? Right? If I was going to try and trade it, I'd probably trade it with an option. if I just liked it and anticipate that it would come back. Or I don't have a chart in front here. I can get a chart over here. Where's Boeing? I thought it was B8. Oh, it's only giving me year to date. Well, you sure could make a case that you've got an A, B, and that maybe you can get a C. Would I buy that? Well, let's see. Let's check. Well, you did. It looks like it got golden zone. Yeah. So you're kind of late to the party there. Boeing. So maybe you got an ABC, but I sure as hell would be paying close attention to that. All right, so come to the 38. So maybe you're going to get an ABC. Looks like that was golden zone right here. Yep. So here's the 618. Looks like you tagged the 65, but now you're kind of just in a fib fight. That's ballsy to buy that, but I think you're likely just going to come up here before it's going to test. Right? So all of it is, if we do a V bottom, I will be freaking shocked. Right? If all of this just V bottoms off of this, right? We've seen it before. A couple of $1 trillion can move the market. Yeah. So this was the default pivots, Cyber. Nothing fancy. In Bitcoin today. Thanks for taking a look. Sure, man. Boeing looks like death. Well, it doesn't mean there's not a trade there. So, I mean, for a long-term hold, it depends on your time horizon. It's much like the S&P. Are we just going to V bottom here? The market it surprises me constantly. All right, are we going to get any sort of a retrace here? We're just kind of hurry up and wait here. Actually, let's do it. Pick it up a little bit. There. So what's our stop going to look like? Split fill. That's pretty good. All right, I would like to see that set up. So here's potential pivot. So it's got to break that trend line. So some of you don't know that. So this will automatically tally up trend lines for us. So that's the Tdu trend line indicator. Right? So it's just connecting those pivots. So for this to come down here, oh, that's too many. Let me get that up there. So there you go. So we want this to come down, get to yellow, right? So that's heads up. Then on the break could take it. But we got to time it with the tick. So we would want this to be well below 400 to take 4 there. Don't see the price. Eric Anthony, do you have to buy? Are you Eric? Are you if you're an OG? Eric, if you're so you might check with Monty on that. He'll know the date. So Eric, are you an educational member? Yeah, OG. Yeah, then you can participate. Check with just send a DM to Monty, and he'll hook you up. Yeah, perks of OG. That was a big part of the reason we did that. Even at that time, I don't think people realized how much value they were getting here, because all of this custom coding that Baby Whale's done for us is no small task. We're very lucky to have him on the team. What's happening in crypto world still? Yeah. Kind of quiet. All right, I wouldn't mind a fill here just to get something going on. So kind of mixed signals here. So you look here and you go, well, the RSI is heading down. And we're right at a golden zone. Now, so we could cross quickly, but look how far it has to go, right, to get on the other side of the average of it. So look at look at it tag the median line. Boom, back, boom, again, right? So you'd anticipate that that's likely where it's going to go. But now everything is saying, again, these are my training wheels. This is for me. Buy only, dumbass, right? Because I want to sell that, right? Just I look at the chart, I want to sell it. All right, and these are my training wheels. Oh, let's look over here. And so here you can kind of see let's get this. I don't change these all the time because sometimes, so this is only one tick difference, but just since we're kind of doing a comparison. So now I've got an 18.6 here. Still too big, really, other than just for visual cues. That's an 18 tick bar. That's a big bar. Let's get this up. Oh, shit. Let's get this up here. This one only because this is what I'm used to. So IB high 50. You'd have to put your style. That's kind of a good. That's going to be about $200 a risk. What else? Anything? Crude. Yeah, crude. I don't like the vol in crude right now. Let's look at the NQ. Kind of the same thing, right? Just straight up. The NQ, so, Jesus, I want to talk about some volatility. So, the NQ, which is more volatile, look at the size of the bar. And that's based off of a 1 minute chart, a 52 tick bar. Crazy, crazy, can't trade that. So, right, so you guys understand why we're working with different types of bars. So, let's get that. But still, you can see here, right? So one thing to note with I mentioned this the other day, just so you guys realize, because sometimes I think people don't see this. You can't get, so we want to be in the market when we have red or blue. You can't get to blue without getting through white. So you have to have the full transition, because these are the conversion colors. You're converting, so this is, okay, we're getting weaker, weaker, now we go red. Here you're getting stronger, stronger, now we go blue. So this is the transition. You have to get through these to get to blue. You have to get through these to get to red. So sitting here looking at this, I mean, this is pretty, these aren't big enough to use as pivots. I would just do that. Okay, so here I got today's open. So what else is there? All right, so I got point of control. So I know there's going to be a reaction there just based off of the volume, right? It's just the fact, because there'll be an algorithm tied to where the point of control is. What else can I stack there? Well, I got a pivot here. I got a pivot here. Every pivot, there'll be a reaction there, which is why you don't want too many pivots. You don't want the choppy days, right? So if you put, see, which is too many pivots to work from. It's just too many. So that's where something like this can be helpful. Going, okay, where are the key pivots, right, on the 15 minutes? So the large players, they work off the 15-minute. They don't even look at this shit. They're all out here on the 15-minute. Right? It's the little guys like us. We work on these smaller time frames. Algos and the big dogs, they're out on the, well, if you're not talking about the high frequency traders, but they're moving off of the 15-minute, which is why we want to see what they're doing out there. But those are it just takes deeper pockets to trade that. Whoops, here I lose when I put on the NASDAQ. I lose this. I can't see if you guys have any. Okay, Amazon is 140. Can you believe that? Is that not incredible? $150 from the all-time high. Well, you can understand why, right? So imagine what they're. Shit, I mean, we're ordering everything in my house, everything we can from Amazon. I don't really feel any risk until I go out to the grocery store, and then it's kind of a weird thing. You see people in your community, and it's, stay away, get away from me. Weird thing. I was at a drugstore, like a CVS drugstore. Just was out on a bike ride. We were just grabbing something to drink. You go in there now, they're all mandated. So everyone behind the counter now has to wear a mask, which, as you guys I'm sure know, wearing the mask is for the other people's benefit. It's not going to, well, maybe if you're wearing the 95 mask, that protects you. But and I was asking the guy, how long do you think that? And they're telling him that it could be 18 months. Like, where you're still going to go into stores, you're going to see people wearing masks. Got to get used to it. I've been doing the bandana because I don't have a mask. But you can just wrap a bandana around. At least you don't look like you're going, well, screw everybody else. I don't care. I'm going to give you my coronavirus. So shit, guys. Sorry, just one of those days. Really, there's nothing you can do here unless we get a retrace. You just, maybe there's a little micro here. See, you could take this down to the 512, and you're going to get a whole lot more trades. But it's moving so fast. I've done it. So if you come down here, right, so look at all the little measured moves that are going to be here. But there's not. I would just advise against it. It's maybe with the micros, you're going to get a lot more trades here, but the risk is so freaking high. So, well, here, okay, did we get a minus 400? Yeah, we got one. So that's the other thing to watch for here. So that was at 1202. So that was right here as we hit this target. All right, so what would you have to? What are you pulling from, right? Where's your key pivot? You really don't have anything. I mean, you could keep looking until you find something. This maybe, right? You can make that case. So here we got yellow, and then we crossed here. So by the time you got there, there's, what do you got in that? $20. I noticed that on different time frames, tick, minute, Renko, autofibs. Well, it won't. So I just changed it here because what it's gonna do, Maxi, is it's gonna pull from the last pivot that it can identify based on that time frame. So all right, so here, so this is gonna give you different pivots than if I'm over here, right? That's why we like the Renkos, because it cleans it up. So if I put, right, I'm gonna miss a lot of this stuff here on the little one. I'm just gonna get the big ones. I prefer the bigger size here than to try and trade a 512 when we have an ADR of 190 ticks. It's just it moves so fast. Well, now this could be interesting here. So if we're going to break this trend line, which we just did. So when it breaks the trend line, one of the nice things Baby Whale built into this, then it kills the trend line. Right? So if we get a close below that trend line, if we get below it, then it'll disappear. But right now it's showing us that it's broken. That's why it's not extending anymore. So let's, maybe we'll go to a 1660, which is normally what I would use on the S&P. So maybe we will get these. This is so Guido, who's a longtime member, he's really mastered the 1660 with some of our earlier templates. Still didn't get, well, here at least on this tick meter. What did we get? Just barely 402. It shows you how strong the market is. So if you look at that over the course of the day, all morning long, here's our first little signs of some selling coming into the market. Oh, let's see, what's the distance here? So if I go here. Point, just trying to get a trade on $35. Yeah, I'll let that spread a little bit. Here's the golden zone, but here's the structure. Because so if this is really going to start to go, I want to be able to put the stop right here. if I'm up here, right, the distance will be too far, so I'm going to try and use that structure that we drew up earlier. Caught the micro short. Yeah, see, you can trade it. It's tradable. Good, baby. Well, the blue line, that's in the QQE. That's an average of it. That's a moving average of the RSI. So the cross here giving you, so this right, here's our first cross coming down. Now we've got yellow. So yellow means we're inside 10. It's low volatility. Now we have reduction of trend. So if this comes down, we want this to come down into this zone, not go red. We don't want to see it go red. We want to stay in that and then come out. This is going to oversold. So this is the OBV. So on this side, I've got the pitch. It works with anything where we have angle. So if you look at an indicator, if the steepness, the angle of the indicator is indicating strength, then we can measure it with the pitch. That's what we're trying to do. So as let's see if I can show you here. Let's put the OBV so you can see what that's doing. Okay. So do you see how steepness here? So here we're sideways, and now as I start to get angle on this, we go into green. So that as the degree of the pitch gets beyond, well, in this case I've got it set. I think I've got 59 here. That's where we get into, well, you would call it overbought, but higher probability that we've got potentially now the sell-off coming because it doesn't stay. There'll be, as profit is taking, and the volume in the OBV, right? So buy volume to sell volume starts to come down. The pitch goes with it. Now we go to red here, so we're below 59 here, angle of the pitch. So waiting for that. But you can, so this is kind of a good example of it here. So in here, right, no advantage. So we stay in the middle here. So it's just another way to get a visual cue. All right, buyers in control. Now we've got sell volume coming in, and right. So we've gone red here, red. So we've just gone red here. Now, note the trend fan is coming back to this support. So potentially this is a, but what are you pulling from? Which pivot would you pull from? So the only thing you have to pull from is this, which is really, is that enough of a pivot to say, yeah, I'd want to put money at risk because that's the key pivot? This one looks more like the key pivot to me. So you could, if you're trying to time this on the long side, now here's the problem you always face. If you wait too long, well, here, let's get the tick over here. This is kind of a conundrum. So look at the tick, right? So we're at 772. So you can't buy with the tick at 766 into a golden zone. Can't do it. Well, you can do it, but what's going to happen is, we were talking about this yesterday. So ideally, the point of trying to time the tick is you want your trade to get off to a good start. It's the trade that you're in and you're immediately underwater and then you're immediately stressed. We're trying to avoid that by timing it with the tick, because the best trade, you'll typically find after you've done enough trading that your winning trades are in the green almost immediately. Those are the trades where then you relax a little bit, like, okay, we're off to a good start. Then you can do some trade management. Say, do I want to bump up my stop? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. So this will be interesting here. So how strong is the market? So we're at 960 going into a golden zone. It doesn't mean we can't get through it, but your odds here are working against you. So this would look much better here. Just think Elliott, right, with a 3. Now, maybe, right, a day like today, it's just going to power through it. But it's just odds, right? Just playing the odds. How can I stack the odds? What are we at? 944 into a golden zone. Is that? Oh, I wonder if that's going to show me. Baby, well, let's look at our variation. Shit, where do I have that thing? I got to find it. It's behind. We'll watch here, see what happens. All right, so 952 into a golden zone. It may get through, but that's a low percentage. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Let's see what we get here. So that's telling me tick extreme, Is that telling me high tick of the day, baby? Well, the green dot saying I've got a high of the day or just a tick extreme. I think it may be just a tick extreme. Let's put that down there. All right, so tick back to 747. You can't. If I was going to buy it, I'd wait till I got to 0. Right, that's where you can get, some of these the little micro swings. 820, still wouldn't buy it. It may just power right through. This is saying trend. Now we're about to cross. It may just go right through it. That's the high. So the dot means it's the. So that would be the highest tick of the day up to that point. BW gives. Oh, nice. Oh, I have to find that. Yeah, I want that to be. I want an alert there. So you see this over here. Here's that red dot. That would be your trailing stop. If you had shorted that, you just got stopped out. 721. Where's my? I want my little one over here. Hey, baby, well, is there a way to make this like this one pinned to the top, so that it's always on top, so it doesn't get buried if I click away from it? I don't know if there's a way to do that or not. So look what we just did there, right? So if you had bought that, that's a great example. You're already underwater, right? So you're 15 ticks underwater. Right? A lot of people trade the S&P with a 12 tick stop. You're already stopped out, right? You cannot do it. How can we get that? The trailing dots. Oh, that's just the. Oh, that's our version. That's the ATR stop, which is more typically what we use than the trend fans. Is that ours only, baby? I don't know if they have one in defaults in Ninja. This is ours. It's in our bundle. You see all this stuff here, guys? So we have, Jesus, it's like 50 indicators. Well, about 8 of them we would consider the premium that are really uniquely ours. The rest of them are, these are indicators that have value. We use a lot of them. Part of the value of all of this is that you get multiple templates. So, I've talked about this before. Sometimes if you're having a bad day, like you just can't. I've had days where you just cannot get on the right side of the market. I'll change the template just to change something because I'm out of sync with the market. So it might be a template that's more of a scalper's template, or it might be we'll do something with fractals. There's another sort of algo that we keep an eye on. So you've got all of this available to you in terms of doing some experimentation with the templates that you like. So is it a sideways day? Okay, I'm going to create one template there. Is it a big monster trend day like today? Okay, different. Am I trading full size? Am I trading micros? Right, all of those variables are available to you here. But the one you're asking about is the Tdu Trailing Stop, which this is the average 2 range multiplier and the ATR period. So sometimes I'll tweak these a little bit. If it's so, a lot of times you'll see if it's just tagging it. So if you put the stop with it, if it just touches it, it'll stop you out. But sometimes it'll go through it and then it won't close there. So now they're going to take another shot at this. So look here. So do we even get to 0? Strong market, right? So it didn't even get to 0. That's how strong we are today. Looks like they're going to get through. So then it should. Well, the IB 100 will be the next level. Remember, it's always levels. So that's the most common level for the IB is 50% of the IB. Right? That's where you often get a pivot. 100 is a pretty good rip, right? So given the strength of the day, so that's 100% of the IB's range. Right? This range is being doubled right here. They're still struggling with that golden zone. See? So even if it does break through, right? So I'll say this and watch it do it, but it's not like, even if it gets through, there'll be a little bit of a pullback. Most commonly, it's 65 to the tick. Right? That's, you just watch what the algorithms do, right? So they're just defending that. All of this is saying go. Note we don't have the RSI crossing yet. So now they'll take another try at it. There's no major resistance. Next stop would be here, right? And then there's the big 23.6 up here. what did we get? Right. So you know you've got a day where it's buy side only when the retraces aren't even getting to zero. So this is going to break right as that crosses. All right. So you don't. So something I did a lot of testing on. Can you buy it on the break? And I would tell you no. Tested it extensively. So a little bit of a break, even if it gets through just a little bit, you can't. You're buying with the tick at 824, right? So by the time you wait for that to break that golden zone, the tick is too hot to buy. And still, you got to wait for a close above it. So that's why that's still there, because we haven't had a close beyond it. So it's still technically, per our indicator, it's not getting rid of this because it's not through yet. It's not closed above it. That's on indicators, right? Wait a sec. I have the ATR 11. So all you're just doing is the cyber is that's the length of the ATR. I often do 2.8 because I don't want it, if it touches it, I don't want to get stopped. I want it to give it a little room. So it's the only way to do that is to back off from 2.5 a little bit. But 2.5 is a good place to start. Or the other thing you can do, which when testing, if we could get a trade off, is you can tie it to the trailing EMA. I actually thought we were going to get that. So interesting, right? We've tagged the 65. We keep hitting the 65, but we're not getting it closed through, so it doesn't take it off. I just keep thinking I'm going to get a chance in gold, and it's not really giving it up. Yes, shit, guys, it just makes for a dull live stream when it's one of these kind of days. Here's like, what can't do anything with that. What are you going to do with that, right? We're just sitting. This is the kind of chop that will hurt you. So the RSI is not above the average. You've got all this structure here that's trying to deal with, and that median line has been pretty good resistance. So your best case here is that you would get through this and then come back and do it that way. But this is right. So this kind of sloppy in here today. I guess you got the. Did you get that? It doesn't look like it was a clean 50. Didn't get far enough. Well, maybe it did. Well, no. So the IB. Well, note here. So we got the little cluster of moving averages here, but we didn't get the 50. So the IB held it. You're just hitting the target there. You're kind of. There's nothing really to work with there. This would be. So you might look here and say, well, did I have that? But that broke. If I get that, so maybe you'd think, right? Remember, an algorithm won't care about this. It won't care about this. It'll just see that. So it'll just see swing low to the new high. But this is not a formation you can really trade, right? You're just rolling dice here. Mixed signals. Shitty live stream day. All right, so so now look what happened. So we're through that. So now the 65 that was there, oh, still not through. Oh, I take it back. Looks like it had killed it, but it's not. We still can't get through that 65. Rejected. It looks like we did get through though. Actually, looks like it's pulling that from a different pivot. Yeah, it is. Do you see that, baby whale? That's something we got to look at, because it's using this. It's used this pivot right here. I've seen that before. It's a little tweak we got to figure out why it's moving to that pivot. You know what, that could be the way I have it set in terms of the size of the swing that it's allowing. That's probably my error. So can we get back here? Right, so this, you kind of have to stay with the 15-minute here, because the little ones, I mean, that's kind of what we're going to be left with, waiting for the retracement. Well, did we get, we still haven't broken through that R1 high. I don't hate this. I wouldn't mind getting filled on that, to tell you the truth. If we can do it in a nice 3, I like it. there's your target. That's what we'd hope for. We'll probably be done. User error, pilot error, baby. Well, I know. That's probably the swing size. Well, fuck. Maybe we'll do this. We'll try this again tomorrow, and we will get a better day. I can't get a trade on. The only trade of the day was this. Well, even let's see. YM's pretty much the same. Sorry, guys. We'll find another day. We'll do this another day and just open it up, or we can get a few trades on. This, if you know this, but statistically, the market trends far fewer days than it doesn't. So this is maybe 20%. It's kind of an 80-20. But given the vol we have here in the circumstance, right? So every day seems like another gigantic trend. But typically, it's, you know, if you got 3 trend days out of 5 days, that's unusually high. And now every day is a trend day because the volatility is so high. Most days are trendless. You're in and out of the IB. You test the IB high. You test the IB low. Not now. If you're jonesing for trades, you got to go down to the smaller time frame. I tend to do the opposite. So here on these kind of big days, I want to go to maybe out to the 5 minute. Oh, let's get this. So what? I mean, pretty much all you've got to work with is the IB here. I'll check that. So that was all you got. Was the 50 pivot gold? Now it's a golden zone from this swing. So that's it. That's all you got today. It's not uncommon. Then you've got the bigger targets up there, going all the way back here. So it's again, training wheels, buy side only. There is no algo resistance up there at all. There's nothing fighting against it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just out of curiosity. That's the one. Well, it would be in the 2618, so we're well beyond. Even that. Do we get a 1618 here? Nope. Too big. Oh, we can show a few things. You guys, this is not going to be a great example, but this will take the closest 3 pivots, and it will automatically put the channels in and the median lines around that. It's not a well. This has been pretty good, right? So here's the upper parallel. So you see the green is the upper warning line. You see we just tagged it to the tick. And you can, if you want the channels off or just the pit, well, you could do it this way. If I can, every now and then that thing gives me a trouble. Baby, well, I hope I didn't just do something there. Yep, I did. God damn it! I've had trouble with that. One indicator's got a little bug in it. Something on my machine. That could be a problem. Well, that might be where we. Yep, just crashed Ninja. All right, guys. I don't know if can you still hear me? I was afraid of that. All right, I don't think we got much. There's not much we can do today. We will try this again. How about we try again tomorrow? Monty, if you're on, since I just crashed Ninja. Baby Whale. I told you. So I tried to show that to Baby Whale. He tried everything he could think of to get it to. Well, that's gonna. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to kill it here. Let's go through the reboot. Let's see if I got my letter from Ninja. Ah, there it is. Wait, no, is it? No, that's not. Just reminder. All right, guys. I apologize. There's nothing I can do on these days, right? It's just gonna suck. Is gonna suck. All right, so let's try again tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a little more action. It's going to take a minute to reload, get everything back up. Let's come over here. So we try. So if you guys have questions, fire them off to me. I'll do the best I can to do it, and then we'll circle back. We'll try tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a better day. We won't have just a straight up rip with no way in. Let's do that. Sorry guys, I'm of course right. Nothing I can do about it. But let's do that. Maybe we'll just get this group back tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a better day. All right. It's 11:30 my time, 12:30. It's going to be kind of quiet here for the next hour. Here it tends to slow down in the lunch hour. All right, guys. Sorry I couldn't give you more action today. Shit, I don't even one trade off, small loser in gold. That's it. So we'll try again tomorrow. Until then, I guess we'll call this a wrap, and we'll see.